Hey, everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's today's Takes with Alex, and I am your host, Alex. Today we are discussing prayer. We're going into the morning prayer, okay? And why waking up with God changes everything. So, welcome back. If you're here for the first time, this channel is all about uncovering the deep spiritual why behind timeless practices that still transform lives today. On a brand new topic, we're exploring the spiritual significance of morning prayer. Not the surface level, it's good for you talk, but the soul level magic that happens when you choose to meet God first thing, before the world rushes in. This isn't about rigid rules or checking a box. It's about starting your day conscientiously, with intention, okay? And starting your day as a co-creator instead of a consumer. If you've ever felt that quiet pull to connect spiritually in the morning, but wondered what it really does for your soul, stay with me. Okay, we're about to discover why and some of the spiritual depth behind it. So let's dive in. Morning prayer, specifically in Judaism, is called shacharit, from the Hebrew word for morning. Okay, shachar. It's one of the 3 daily prayers established by the sages, modeled after the temple service, the same service where we bring our offerings. So it's like our prayers are affiliated or take the place of our offerings. Okay, the Torah itself commands us to serve God with all of our heart and soul, and the rabbis saw prayer as the service of the heart. Right at the beginning of the day, we recite blessings like Modeh Ani, I thank you, living eternal King, for restoring my soul to me in compassion. Every morning we wake up, in fact, it is a blessing. It's another opportunity. Okay, so before coffee, before emails, before everything else, we acknowledge that our very consciousness is a gift. The spiritual framing is powerful. The Zohar and Kabbalistic sources teach that sleep is a taste of death. Each night, our soul rises to higher realms, and in the morning, it returns refreshed. Prayer is the moment we consciously reunite body and soul with their source. The Talmud says that the righteous rise early to seize the day for holiness, not because God needs our words, but because we need the realignment. So let's go beneath the surface to reveal the spiritual mechanics. Morning prayer is first and foremost about drawing down divine light into the physical world. Kabbalah explains that at dawn, the universe is in a state of renewal. The chesed, the loving kindness attribute of God, is most accessible. When we pray, we participate in that cosmic reset, right? The chesed is unbound, pure chesed is unbound loving kindness, generosity, mercy, right? So when we pray during this moment, we tap into that potential and align it, direct it with our intention. When we pray, we participate in that cosmic reset. The blessings, the Shema and the Amidah, right? Each part builds a ladder from our limited self up to the infinite. So Jews recite the Shema, right, which is a declaration. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. It's not just a declaration, it's an act of unification, right? And we can all tap into that when we conscientiously acknowledge that God is the creator, God is the sustainer, and God is one. It's an act of unification. Mystics teach that reciting it with proper intention merges the fragmented sparks of creation back into oneness. You're not just saying words, you're actively repairing reality. We're co-creators. Then comes the Amidah, the silent standing prayer. For those 7 minutes, the world disappears. The higher, as we progress through the prayers, we reach higher and higher levels of spiritual realities. And within higher levels, we are able to tap in and affect in a greater magnitude, right? It's like a business or a corporate structure, right? The higher up you are, the more the more effect you have on the lower branches, right, or aspects of that corporation. So we stand as if before a king, pouring out your heart while also surrendering to God's will. The sages say that this is when a person can achieve devakis, a clinging to the divine, a special intimate closeness. In that quiet space, the soul expands, worries shrink, clarity emerges. Many who pray consistently describe it as downloading spiritual fuel that carries them through challenges they never thought they could handle. Why? So why morning specifically? Because the first hour set the tone for everything that follows. The Talmud teaches that prayer in the morning is accepted with special favor. It's like greeting the king before he's busy with the affairs of the world. Spiritually, you're choosing priority. In a culture that starts the day with doom scrolling or rushing, morning prayer says, "My first relationship is with the source of all life." Right? And what a way to start. That single choice creates a ripple effect. You move through the day with more gratitude, more presence, more resilience. The structure itself is brilliant. We begin with praise, move into connection, and then with requests, right? We acknowledge the Creator, we acknowledge our relationship with Him, and then we have a chance to reflect on our needs. And while understanding that all comes from the source of all blessing, we're able to tap in and approach the Creator, the King of our lives. And then end with gratitude and hope. It trains the soul in the perfect balance. Recognize God's greatness, affirm His oneness, ask for what you need, and then thank Him. And all before breakfast. Okay? Hasidic masters like the Baal Shem Tov emphasize joy and intention. Prayer isn't meant to be mechanical. Even if the words feel foreign at first, the intention behind them turns the practice into a living conversation. Right? When it comes from the heart, when it comes from true intention and belief, right? Then transforms everything. One story tells of a simple shepherd who couldn't read but whistled beautifully for God, and his prayer reached the highest heavens because it came from the heart. Right? God doesn't need fancy, elaborate, sacrifices or offerings. Right? It just needs to be heartfelt and sincere, and He knows. So here's where it touches everyday life. Morning prayer is spiritual technology for elevation. Each day we face a fresh mix of good and evil inclinations. Prayer strengthens the good, clarifies our purpose, and protects us from getting lost in the noise. Modern science quietly confirms the ancient wisdom. Studies on morning routines show that intentional practices reduce cortisol, improve focus, and increase overall well-being. But Judaism goes further. It's not just psychological, it's ontological. You're literally partnering with God to perfect creation, and that's universal. The sparks of holiness that descend in the morning are gathered through prayer and carried throughout your day, in your work, in your relationships, in your smallest acts. Even on hard days when you're tired, distracted, or running late, showing up anyway has immense power. The effort itself is treasured. As Rabbi Nachman of Breslov taught, the main thing is to keep praying, keep talking to God. The consistency builds a bridge between your soul and the divine that nothing else can match. So why does this matter right now in 2026? Well, we live in a distracted world, anxious, fragmented. Phones pull us in 100 directions before our feet even hit the floor. Morning prayer is the antidote, a daily return to center, to purpose, to the knowledge that you are loved, watched over, and capable of greatness. It transforms the ordinary day into a sacred journey. So that meeting for work, you enter it having already aligned with truth, having already aligned with your inner essence. Having that alignment is so powerful because you're not pulled in 100 different ways for that important meeting or for that important thing that you have scheduled for the day. That difficult conversation, you face it with more compassion because you've spent time in the presence of perfect compassion. When with true heartfelt prayer, you feel, your soul feels that closeness, right? And one of those feelings can be understood as feeling a divine compassion. So in the end, the spiritual significance of morning prayer is this: God doesn't need our prayers, we need them. They remind us who we are, whose we are, and what we're here to do. If this resonated, let me know in the comments. What's your experience with morning prayer or any morning spiritual practice? What surprised you most today? Give this video a like if you want more explorations of practices that actually shift how we live. Subscribe and hit the bell so we can keep uncovering hidden holiness together. Thank you for sharing this sacred time with me. May your mornings be filled with light, and may every day bring you closer to your highest self. I'm wishing everyone a great Thursday. Get out there, have fun, be blessed, be safe, be successful, okay? And remember that we are all growing. We are all on our own path, and we should be compassionate, understanding, while still holding everyone accountable. Have a great day. Wishing you the best. Thank you very much.